Okay, I want to do a quick video just on how to format your cover letter for your essays. Please do make sure you get in the content that is needed in each paragraph. Remember, you're not just writing whatever you want in the paragraphs. I'm giving you specific assignments for what goes in there. So make sure you review the samples and use those to give you ideas for what to write. In terms of the full block letter, whenever you go to Word, you can use their template, but there are problems with it. And when you turn it into me using that, I will write template much and take off points. So I don't want to do that. So it's really formatting a letter is very easy and straightforward. You notice here you're going to have your address, your town, the date. We're going to skip a space. This is all single space. There's no tabs, no extra space in between. Then you have who is that letter to. You're going to have your salutation, dear so-and-so. And then your paragraphs, again, single space, one line between. At the end, you'll have your closing. Sincerely that's what I use all the time in business letters. You'll skip 3 spaces and then type your name, and then you will make sure to sign. It is very, very important you do that. And when you look at our sample letters, you can see there are a couple of writers who do the straightforward typed up business letter, and this is a fabulous, wonderful format to use. I'm just going to copy some text here because actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this text because I will need this, because in order to write this letter you need to put in my address. So you can go to the assignment or to any of, it's here in the assignment, or to any of the samples, and you'll find it there too. So in Word, I'm going to go ahead and, where was I at? Let's do File and New. When you open up Word, you'll generally have this screen, and I'm going to choose a blank document. And then there are a couple of things I want to set up and make sure I've got right. The margins will be 1 inch when you choose that blank document, so really you don't have to mess with anything there unless your letter gets a little long. I'm going to click on the paragraph arrow under the Home tab, the little paragraph call out. I'm going to make sure my spacing is before and after, and remember to make sure that you do that with all of your documents for school. You want to set those, unless it's something specifically you've been told not to, you want to control those spacings between paragraphs. This is going to be single. It is everything else. The academic papers we write are all double spaced, and we don't want to add space between paragraphs of the same style. So 0, 0 in terms of spacing before and after. Line spacing is single, and then make sure the check mark, don't add space between paragraphs of the same style. I say okay, and I'm good to go. Now remember, what we need is we need address, and we need address and then date. So whatever your address is, make sure and just type that in. Street, drive, wherever you live. Chaparral. That's how I keep my New Mexico. I live in Chaparral, New Mexico, 88081. Something in there. There's another number in there somewhere. Make sure and get it right. And then after this, I'm just going to type in the date. And today is January. Yeah. And once I hit space, then it will type in the rest of the date. And then I'm going to skip 1 line, and I'm going to put who this is to. And this is why I copied from the letters, Kelly Wood, 9570 Gateway Boulevard North, El Paso, Texas, 79924. So I copied that, and notice whenever you copy and paste, you get a little clipboard with control after it. Click on that drop down and go ahead and tell it to paste without, that is paste without formatting. That's just pasting plain. So I want to do that. And then I'm going to enter, and I'm going to say, Dear Ms. Wood. You could write Professor Wood, and a colon. In a business letter, we put a colon after the name. Excuse me. And then we're going to start our letter. And so here I'm just going to go borrow some text. You wouldn't do this. I was writing my own letter. I would write that. First paragraph is what is it that we have. The second paragraph is going to be what. Notice space between paragraphs. What's something you like. That third paragraph is what's something you're worried about or you want specific advice on. Excuse me. And the final paragraph is, of course, just your closing, that complimentary closing. Thank you. I've worked a lot on this essay. I look forward to your feedback, whatever it is. And then you're going to type sincerely. Like I said, that works. One, enter 1, 2, 3, and then number 4, you type your name. Type out your name. And then once you're finished, make sure when you print it out, before you turn it into me, make sure and sign your name between sincerely and your name. Otherwise, I count 20 points off, and that's a bummer. I don't like to do that. So that was simple, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Ours looks almost like the samples. Mackenzie's is a little off. Oh, Ismail's is too. Notice here, one of the things to notice, and remember, when you proofread your writing, you need to read for your grammar mechanics, then you need to read for your content. Start with your content. Are you doing what the instructor, what the document needs to do? Do you have all the discussion in there? Then move on to your grammar mechanics. Am I getting this right? And then go to your format proofreading. So I've used the zoom bar in the bottom right of the words screen to make this smaller so I can see the whole page. Notice how this starts up here with the top margin, but at the bottom there's like extra space down there. One of the things you want to do with a business letter is center it on the page, and you don't have to do it that's vertically up and down. It doesn't have to be perfect. You notice I just entered a couple of times, and I can see that's approximately the same. So don't forget your visual proofreading as your final part of your letter. Now, that is an example of how to do the very simple, straightforward one. That all you want to do, that is an A-OK, wonderful, wonderful letter. If you want to, I mean, there are very few places in college you get to do more than just kind of the plain stuff. If you want to have a letterhead, you can. Whenever you do one, though, make sure, if you're emailing something, make sure that you can use color, but make sure it would print out in black and white. If you were emailing a letter to a boss, a potential boss, and the administrative assistant is printing them out so that the boss or the hiring manager can read them, they may or may not print them out in color. They might print them all out in black and white. So you want to make sure that if you use color, one, it's not a crazy color, or it's not, I mean, like Denise's is kind of fuchsia pink. Maybe not everybody likes that, but it's okay. You just don't want to have, like, you know, color overload or anything like that. Jessica's uses a little blue and then the black here. And Christina's, and these are all on the cover letter page on kelli.ninja. Christina's just uses black. So if you'd like to have a letterhead, you can do that. Let me show you real quick a very easy way to do that. I'm going to cut the address, and then I'm going to go up here in the top of the header, and I'm just going to paste that in. I'm going to do some more things. So your name, of course, you're going to want your name, and one of the easiest ways to do this is just take it, and I used a font earlier I liked, and just change the font so you wouldn't have like 30 different fonts in your document, but you can use a different one for your letterhead. Make sure you just choose one. Too crazy and it just doesn't work. So even something like that, look, you can see how it stands out differently. So it's just the same thing with your name in a little larger font. That's a 28 and a different one. But I could also do something like this. What I did was I just entered so that the street and the city are in the same line, and then I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to go to home, and I'm going to click on center, make sure it's centered, and I'm going to enter until it wraps to the next line and then go back. Okay? And then I'm going to go your name, and I'm going to click on border and bottom border. Okay? And then you can see, I'm going to do the preview here. Looks a little better. Then you can see how it kind of gives it that, you know, something a little different. And of course, we could change this. You can go back into your header and home, and I'm clicking on the paragraph, the borders. I'm going to get rid of borders, and then maybe I'll move down here, put the bottom border there. You know, you can format it in different ways. You could take one of the things that I'll show you the shortcut. I'm just copying the street address and the city, state, and then I'm going to come down to the footer and I'm going to paste it in, and I want to do two things. One is I want to change this home and the paragraph, the little border box. I want to change it to no borders, and then I'm just getting rid of them all, and I'm going to change it to top border. And here I could put in my email, theoretically, if it will type for me. No, come on. Use your, of course, for school stuff, use your school email, and then I could put in that, and I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the other one up top. I'm just going to space a little bit and put in, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, a phone number. Now, if I'm turning in a print copy of this, my email automatically hyperlinked. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that hyperlink, because if I'm turning in a print copy, I don't want any distraction. So you can say here what I did was I just kind of inverted the, it looks like there's an extra space there, it's bugging me. But I just kind of inverted the whole thing so that it's the same. Again, the rest of my letters, starting from the date down, I want to make sure, notice how between the line, the bottom of my letterhead, and your name and my email, the bottom part of my letterhead at the top of the bottom, there's a different spacing in there. So I'm going to enter and move it down so again it's just kind of centered on the page. It doesn't have to be exactly. So however you decide to format your letter, whether you use a letterhead or whether you do a simple typed up letter, make sure you center it on the page. Proofread, get your content in there, and then do the visual proofreading. That's how you format it. Just change your line spacing, make sure your line spacing's 1, no extra space before or after, skip a line between paragraphs, and no tabs. It's the simplest way to format a letter there is. So good luck, and give it a try, and my job's to help you get it just right.